The Plum in the Golden Vase Embroidery Chongzhen Version Chapter 86. Sui instigates Chen Jingji to beat up. Golden Lotus quenches Wang Chaoer's thirst. The poem says, "The pear blossoms are so lonely when the rain hits them, and the tears drop from my heart several times. I have been away for 1 year or 3 years, with thousands of emotions. Good sentences come from autumn, and souls often disappear from dreams. I don't know when Shangwo will be reunited, and I will live up to Wush in several twilight dynasties. It is said that since Zhan Mai left, Pan Jinlian has been puzzled in the room, so there is no question. Chen Jingji, who was singled out, went out during dinner the next day, pretending to collect a debt, and rode to Zhu's wife's house. Sister-in-law Zhu was in the house and asked her to come in and sit down. Jingji tied his head and mouth, went into the room, sat down, ordered tea and ate, and Zhu deliberately asked, "Brother-in-law, what do you want to say when he comes?" Jingji said, "I went to Qianji to collect a debt, but I ended up here. The eldest lady came out last night to have a word with him, and Zhu pretended to be a stranger to him," he said. "Good brother-in-law, your mother-in-law didn't pay me any favors yesterday because you always cheated and caused scandals. So she sent him out and taught me to be on guard against you and not to meet or talk to him. You still haven't go as soon as possible. I'm afraid he might send the servant to see you, and it will cause another scene, but I won't be able to get in." Then Jingji smiled and took out a tael of silver from his sleeve. He came and said, "I'll make a cup of tea. You can take it now. I'll thank you someday." When Mrs. Zhu saw the money, she said, "Good brother-in-law, I'm sorry for having no money. Please thank me in the future. It's just that in the 12th lunar month of last year, I was in your shop. I'll pay you $2 of flower pillow tops for 1 year, so you can find them for me." Jingji said, "It doesn't matter. I'll find them for you tomorrow." Sister-in-law Zhu asked Jingji to go to a room in the house to meet Zhan Mai, and asked his wife, Sister Jin, to order some dishes. "I'm going to buy tea, snacks. She also made a pot of wine and some meat and bream. Teach them to eat." When Zhan Mai saw Jingji, she said, "Brother-in-law, you are a good man, but you are just a messy executioner. You have made me and my daughter so miserable that you have made yourself look ugly and disgusted, and you have reached this point." Jingji said, "My sister, since you have left his house, I have not been in his house for a long time. My wife and children, Zhao Yingchun, have gone to their own homes. You can teach Mother Zhu to find a good family for you. I'll pickle leeks. It's already a borderline that cannot be entered. I went to Tokyo to settle the matter with my father, and when he came back, he divorced his daughter and only wanted the box to be stored at my house. After saying that, after a while, Anzu bought tea, food, wine and food, set it on the king table, and the two of them drank and talked together. Anzu also had 2 cups with him, passing each other one after another, and said something to Yunyang's heart. Ruthless, if a beautiful girl comes out of the house, she won't be able to wear a hairpin, even if you go to someone else's house to show off. It doesn't look good. Also the old price. Even pure water, pour it into this bowl and that bowl, and sprinkle some. It turns out that this is such a brainstorm. He went out temporarily, but luckily Xiao Yu did a favor and taught his mother to bring him 2 pieces of clothes. No. When you go to someone else's house, what should you use as a cover? When the food was full of wine, Mrs. Zhu taught his daughter-in-law, Sister Jin, to hold the child and hide in other people's seats, and taught them to sit comfortably in a room together. It was exactly, there are light clouds and phoenixes on the horizon, and there are mandarin ducks and mandarin ducks on the bottom of the water. Write a book that will last forever, and bring joy to the next generation. After the two were separated, they had to say goodbye for a while, and it was harder to part with each other than ever before. Sister-in-law Zhu was afraid that Yunyang would send someone to see her, so she quickly urged Jingji to leave the port and ride to Tuku home. After a delay of 2 days, Jingji bought 2 gold sweat towels, 2 pairs of knee pants and Zhan Mai, and went out to find a pillow to meet Zhu's sister-in-law. She also used money to make wine, and was having wine with Zhan Mai in Aunt Zhu's room. Unexpectedly, Yunyang sent a servant named Lian to urge Aunt Zhu. "Why don't you come to the master?" She saw her head and mouth tied at the door. Lianer came home and learned the tongue, and said, "Brother-in-law is here too." After hearing this, Yunyang was furious, and sent to people to call Mrs. Su. And she said as many times as she could, "You take the slave and send it to me today, and tomorrow to the day after, so that you can hide the servant and earn money for your family. If you don't send it, bring the girl back to me. I'll teach Madame Feng how to sell, so don't come to my door again." After hearing this, sister-in-law Zhu said, "Oh my God, you blame me for being so busy. Beat me with a stick. Why don't you send me away if you take care of me? Yesterday, I took 2 or 3 of my masters away, but they couldn't come out. I want the original price of 16 taels, but my matchmaker has the money to accompany me." Then he said, "The boy said that the Chen family's seed is having wine with the girl at your house today." And Su panicked. Yeah, it's another scene. It was the 12th month of last year, and I became a pillow top for 2 people in our Lion Street shop. The money was collected, and my brother-in-law gave me a pillow today. I asked him to have tea, but he didn't want to eat, so he came to the house to have a drink. Hi, official? You are so quick to tell lies. Yunyang was speechless after hearing this, and said, "I'm just afraid that I might be misled by that kind of idea." Sister-in-law Zhu said, "I am a 3-year-old child. How can I not know this? If you pay me the same amount, I will eat well and eat well. He will not sit there for a long time. Come and eat. How many times have we seen our little eldest sister come to you? All things must be true. So you, the old man, are here to guard Mr. Zhou's house and only have to pay 12 taels of silver for him to grow. I'll exchange the money if he adds to it." Speaking of which, Mr. Guard has also seen the young lady at our banquet, because he can sing these songs, and he looks good. It's just a few taels of silver. It's not my daughter, and no one else can afford it. Mrs. Su immediately broke the price with Yunyang. The next day, Chen Mai was dressed up and decorated early. She wore a scarf and a bun. Her head was full of pearls. She put on a red jacket, a blue skirt. Her feet were pointed, and she was delivered in a sedan chair. Guard the mansion. When Zhou Xiaobai saw Chen Mei's appearance, she was redder and whiter than before, neither short nor long, with a pair of small feet. He was full of joy, so he cashed out 50 taels of ingots, and Zhu's sister-in-law took home. He cut off 13 taels of silver and gave it to Yunyang at Simon King's house. He took out another 1 tael and said, "This is the wedding money that Master Zhou gave me. Don't you, old man? Give me some more." Then Wu Yunyang, unable to avoid it, I had to weigh out another 5 cents of silver and give it to him. It happened that he had also banned 37 taels of silver. 10 or 9 matchmakers all make money to support their families. But he said that Chen Jingqi saw that Chen Mai had been sold and was not allowed to go to Jinlian, seeing that Yunyang ignored him in everything, and the door was strictly closed. He came out in person at night, lit a lantern, looked after him, locked up, and then went to sleep, so he no hands or feet allowed. Jingji was very anxious. He yelled twice with Sister Simon first. He scolded the elder sister once, and for all, "I am a son-in-law in your house, and the unscrupulous woman eats the food and gets hurt. Your family has received a lot of money from me. Yin Xianlong, you are my wife, but you don't care about supporting me, but you say that I am your wife. Why am I eating your food for nothing?" The scolded eldest sister just burst into tears. The 7th day of November is Meng Yulu's birthday. Yulu arranged a few bowls of wine, food and snacks, and kindly asked Chen Hong to take out the front shop and teach Jingji to accompany Mr. Fu to eat. Yunyang stopped and said, "He is not a talented person. Don't pay attention to him. If you want to have a meal with Mr. Fu, you can eat with Mr. Fu at home. There is no need to call him." Yulu refused. Chen Hong took it out and placed it on the water tank. After eating a large pot of wine, he refused to drink and sent the patrolman to go back. Mr. Fu said, "Brother-in-law, there's no need to ask for wine. This wine is so good that I won't eat it." Jingji refused and insisted on coming to Anne. After waiting for a long time, Lai Anner came out and said that she had run out of wine. Chen Jingji also had half a cup of wine in his stomach and asked him to go, but he couldn't move there. He took some extra money, drank some wine and ate it. Anner scolded Anner, "You little thief slave. Don't panic. Your master doesn't want to see me. And even you, a slave, bully me to keep you from moving. It's unethical for me to be your son-in-law. How can I do anything with my father when I am tired of eating meat and wine? Today, My father is gone and he has changed his mind and ignores me. He always tries to squeeze me. My mother-in-law listens to the slave's words and trusts the slave in everything. Not me. I can't stand the cold, Mr. Fu advised. Good brother-in-law, please stop talking to me. If you don't respect your brother-in-law, who else will you respect? Why don't you scold him? The wall has cracks and ears, just like you are drunk. Jingji said, Old man, you don't know, I am drunk and my mother-in-law listens to the villain's words and scolds me. Even if I fuck someone, he didn't fuck me. How about I fucked all the wives in this house? And it's just my mother-in-law's adultery when I get to the official position. Now I'll put your daughter away first. Then the complaint was filed with the government. If I don't go to the Wanshu Gate in Tokyo, I will see that your house contains many gold and silver boxes, which are stolen by young Jianying. How about we confiscate all your houses, my wife? It's for the convenience of the government to sell. I don't want to fish. I just want to play in troubled waters. It's better for everyone to keep my son-in-law in a cage and treat him as usual. Seeing that his words were not good, Brother Fu said, Brother-in-law, you are drunk. Wang Ju, just drink and stop talking. Jingji looked at Mr. Fu and cursed. Old thief, why are you talking about me? I'm here to eat your family's wine. Am I not his son-in-law's lover? You are just his family's fortune for no reason. Why don't you squeeze me in? I'll teach you, old dog. Not to panic. You have made so much money in the past few years. The money has been paid and the food has been eaten. I want to gang up on me and seize the power to do business so that I can support my family. I will also give you a lawsuit tomorrow. Mr. Fu was a very timid person. Seeing that the situation was not good, he put on his clothes and sneaked home quietly. The boy gathered up his chores and went back. Jingji fell down on the king and slept, and the whole night was spent. The next day, when Mr. Fu went to the back in the morning, he saw Yunyang telling all the previous events, crying, and wanted to leave home, settle the accounts, and stop doing business. Yunyang then advised, Brother, you can just do your business with peace of mind. Don't bother with that talent and throw it away like stinky shit. When your family came to live in my family for official affairs, how much gold and silver did they have? The treasure? It's just a few dowry items and a suitcase with you. I'm afraid I didn't have enough people at that time, so I had to worry about you all day and night. Thanks to my father-in-law's support these past few years, I have been able to handle all kinds of business. Today, I will retaliate for my kindness, and my children will be deceived and unreasonable tomorrow. Just take care of him. Brother, you can just do your business and don't bother with him. He was naturally embarrassed. He comforted Mr. Fu. One day, when something happened, the printing shop was crowded with people in a room asking for things. I saw Nanny Ryer holding Brother Xiao in her arms and bringing a pot of tea to Mr. Fu to eat and put it on the table. Brother Xiao was in the breast's arms, just crying. Chen Jingji faced those people and said seriously, My brother, dear boy, please stop crying. He said to everyone, This child is raised by me. If you listen to me and teach him to stop crying, he will stop crying. Those people were stunned. Ryer said, Brother-in-law, you said such wonderful things. He screamed more and more. Let's see if I come into the room and say it or not. Then Chen Jingji caught up and kicked his breasts twice, jokingly scolding, The weird thief is sloppy. You said no. Let me kick your butt. The woman carried the child to the back and cried to Yunyang. Brother-in-law said this to everyone. This Yunyang is not allowed. Just listen. After hearing this, I was combing my hair by the mirror. I couldn't speak for a long time. When I bumped forward, I fainted and fell to the ground, unconscious. But see, the Jaden Junction is lost. But it is a pity that Simon King and his wife are married. The treasure jade is ruined, and it is a waste of 90 days to marry Dongjin. The face is covered with flowers, just like the peony leaning against the red railing in the western garden. The sandalwood mouth is speechless, just like the guanyin of the South China Sea coming to meditate. The spring breeze in the small garden was strong yesterday, and the river plum blossoms were blown away. Xiaoyu panicked and asked the generals of the family to help Yunyang to sit on the kang. Sun Zui jumped on the kang, held herself up for half a day, drank some ginger soup, and woke up after half a day. Yunyang was so angry that she choked and couldn't cry. Ryer, the nanny, told Meng Yulu and Sun Zui, and Zhang Jingji told everyone about the joke. I said he was kind, and he kicked me twice, making me so angry that I fainted here. Zui supported Yunyang, and when everyone dispersed, she quietly said to Yunyang in the room, "Mom, don't be angry. You are so angry that you are a little bad, and it is getting worse. This young man cannot be with you because he sold Chanmai. The slut of the Pan family did something wrong and said nothing now. The eldest sister is already a married woman, just like selling her land. So we don't care about her. Just teach the young man what to do at home. Tomorrow, he will coax him into the back, give him a good beating, and immediately drive him out of the house. Then he will ask the queen to come and teach him how to lead the adulterer. Go, sell off and get married. Just like a dog's piss. He will be gone for a day and nothing will happen. What will he do if he is left at home tomorrow?" Yunyang said. "That's what you said. The plan has been decided." The next day, after dinner, Yunyang ambushed 7 or 8 maids and daughters-in-law, each armed with short sticks and mallets. The servant came to Anna to invite Chen Jingji to the back, and only talked. After closing the ceremony door, he was asked to kneel down in front of him and asked, "Do you know your guilt?" Chen Jingji did not kneel down, but turned his head high and pretended not to admit it. Yunyang was furious, so she led Zui, Lake Xing's daughter-in-law, Lei Zhao's wife Yizangking, Zhang Qiu, Xiao Yu, Xu Chen and other women to pin her to the ground and beat her with mallets and short sticks. Sister Ximen walked aside and didn't come to save her. The young man who was beaten was so anxious that he took off his pants, revealing a straight stick. When the women saw it, they dropped their sticks and ran away. Yunyang was both annoyed and smiling, and cursed. "What a baseless bastard." Jingji said nothing, thinking in his heart, "If it wasn't for my method, how could I have escaped?" So, he picked it up, pocketed his pants with one hand, and walked forward. Yunyang ordered the young man to follow him, taught him how to settle accounts, and handed them over to Mr. Fu. Jingji knew that he was uncertain, so he packed his clothes and bedding without saying a word, and sent Qing'er away from Ximen King's house, and went to his uncle Zhang Tuanlian's house to live in his old house. Exactly, only by being grateful and accumulating hatred can we never live in dust for thousands of years. Pan Jinlian was in the room. When she heard Chen Jingji being beaten, she rushed out and became more and more worried and bored. One day, Yunyang listened to Zui's words and sent Daener to call Wang Po. Since her son Wang Chao came to the house with a guest from Huisheng, she came to the house with 100 taels of silver and became prosperous. She no longer sold tea. She bought 2 donkeys, installed a mill, and a chest, and opened a mill. Hearing Ximen King's call to him at the house, he quickly dressed and left. On the road, he asked Dan, "My brother, how long has it been since I last saw you? You've already gone away early. Have you ever had a wife?" Dan said, "Why don't you still have a daughter-in-law?" "Not at all." Mrs. Wang said, "Your father is gone. What do you ask me to do? Could it be that your 5th mother has raised a son?" Diane said, "My 5th mother has not raised a son, but I have a son-in-law. My aunt asked you to take him out to get married." "Oh my god. Look at it. How can you keep this slut alive after your father is dead? When a dog can't stop eating shit. It's your eldest sister's son-in-law. What's his surname?" Diane said, "His surname is Chen Jingji." Mrs. Wang said, "Why did I think about it last year? Regarding the matter of Lao Ju, go and bother your father. When we arrived at the house, your father was not here. He did not let me sit in the room, and even asked the girl to pour me some tea. Come out. I just want to live in his house for thousands of years. How can I still come out today? You are such a promiscuous whore. Don't say that I am your matchmaker. You should be so careless." Diane said, "He and my brother-in-law made a fuss at home, which almost made my mother-in-law angry to death yesterday. My brother-in-law has been sent away, and he is the only one who can teach you how to lead." "He's gone," Mrs. Wang said. "He came in a sedan chair, and he also came in a sedan chair. He also has a box with him." Dan said, "I don't miss this. And he has her own place." While the two were talking, they reached the door. Entering Yunyang's room, she said goodbye and sat down, while the maid took some tea. Yunyang said, "Old Wang, I invite you to come if I have nothing to do." She told Pan Jinlian like this and said it again. "I am here to deal with right and wrong. and leave for right and wrong. I won't bother the two kings as a guest, but they still start. You can take him out, marry him, or send him to live freely. I am no longer a man, and I can't recruit these people. I can't say that the dead ghost lost a lot of money for him. There are people who can beat him. Now you can get a lot of money for him. It's just a job for me to pray for his father. Grandma Wang said, "You old man. You just want to get rid of the trouble. Just go out." "I know. I won't go any further. It's a good day. Just go out." He carried the sedan chair and sat on it. Yu Niang said, "The box is with him, and he cannot sit in the sedan chair." Xiao Yu said, "My grandma was so angry that she had to hire a sedan chair. Otherwise, people in the neighborhood will watch and show their faces in public. And won't they be laughed at?" Yunyan was speechless and asked her maid Su Chun to come over. As soon as the Golden Lotus saw Mrs. Wang in the room, she opened her eyes, said blessings to her, and sat down. Mrs. Wang said straightforwardly, "You should clean up now. Just now." The aunt said, "Teach me to take you out today." Jin Lian said, "How long have I been dead? What wrong did I do? What evil did I do? How can I bring peace to the world? Send me out?" Grandma Wang said, "Don't pretend to be dumb or deaf. Since ancient times, snakes have known that everyone knows what they do. There has been no banquet since ancient times, and the rafters rot first. And the names of people, the shadows of trees are like flies. I'm going to send you to Yanghua now." Jin Lian saw that the momentum was not good and he was not expected to stay for a long time. So he also said, "Don't slap people in the face. Don't criticize them. Don't use your power to drive people away. Don't catch up. I haven't been a wife in your house for only a day. Why did you hear the slave and slut speak so ruthlessly and send me out like this?" The words are good. Jinlian and Yunyang were confused for a while. Yunyang went to his room and packed boxes for him, a changing table, for sets of clothes, several hairpins and rings, and a quilt. The rest of the shoes and feet he wore were filled in the box. He called Qiuju to the back and locked the door. Jinlian put on her clothes, said goodbye to Yunyang, and cried loudly in front of Ximen Qingling, walking to Meng Yu's building again. It was also a time for sisters to get along. Once they were separated, the two shed tears. Without telling Yunyang, Yulu secretly gave him a pair of golden hairpins, a set of emerald blue coat, and a red skirt, and said, "Sixth sister, the longer I stay away from you, the less likely I will be. You see a good family and move forward. Come on." Since ancient times, there has never been a feast that lasted for thousands of miles. If you have someone to tell me, I will go there and stop by to see you. It is also a sisterly thing. So we parted in tears. Before going out, Xiao Yu gave Jinlian a gift and secretly gave Jinlian 2 golden hairpins. Jinlian said, "My sister, you have a little heart for me." Wang Po had hired someone to carry the box, cage and table first. Dao Yulu and Xiao Yu sent Jinlian to the door and sat in the sedan before returning. Exactly. All the sorrows and sufferings in the world are nothing more than death and separation. But it was said that Jinlian came to Wang Po's house, and Wang Po put him in the inner room and slept with him every night. His son Wang Chaoer also grew up to be a big man, with his head in a cage. He didn't have a wife yet, so he slept on a bed outside. Pan Jinlian was still dressed the next day, with beautiful eyebrows and beautiful eyes looking at people under the curtain, sitting on the kang with nothing to do, either drawing eyebrows or playing the pipa. When Mrs. Wang was away, she and Wang Chaoer would fight ear and play chess. The old woman went to clean the house and feed the donkey, leaving him alone. Day and night, Wang Chaoer was scratched again. In the evening, Mrs. Wang fell asleep while she was waiting. The woman pushed off the kang to urinate, walked out of the bed outside, and had sex with Wang Chaoer, shaking the bed loudly. Mrs. Wang woke up and heard it and asked where the noise was. Wang Chaoer said, "It's the sound of cats and mice under the cupboard." Mrs. Wang muttered in her sleep, saying, "Just because there are these brand noodles in the house, it caused this heart-wrenching night in the middle of the night, which consumed people and made them unable to sleep. After a while, I heard another movement, and the bed frame was shaking." And Mrs. Wang asked where the sound was. Wang Chao said, "It's the sound of a cat biting a mouse under the kanghole." The woman turned her ears and heard the sound of a cat biting a mouse in the kanghole, so she became speechless. After the woman and the boy finished their work, they quietly went to sleep on the kang. There are a few puns about this mouse. You are small in body, bold in appearance, sharp in mouth, and very naughty, seeing people hiding and hiding, screaming and chirping in the ears, keeping people awake in the middle of the night. He is not good at human ethics and prefers to dig into gaps. There is also a dishonesty that cannot be changed. One day, Chen Jingji found out that Pan Jinlian had come out to marry Mrs. Wang at her house. So she came to Mrs. Wang's house carrying the slings of copper coins. The old woman was sweeping up the donkey's dung in front of the door. This Jingji went forward and sang deeply. The mother-in-law asked, "Brother, what are you doing?" Jingji said, "Please come inside to talk." Wang Po then let her in. Jingji then asked, "I would like to ask if there is a lady named Pan Liuji who lives in the residence of a senior official in Ximen. Is she getting married here?" Wang Po then asked, "Who are you?" "I am his brother, and he is my sister." Mrs. Wang looked at him and said, "I don't know what kind of brothers he has. Don't fool me. Are you his son-in-law's surname? There are midges everywhere, and my mother can't put them away." Jingji smiled and took off the slings of copper coins from his waist, put them in front of him, and said, "These 2 slings of money can be used to pay for Grandma Wang's tea. Please teach me. I will thank you again someday." When the mother-in-law saw the money, she became more and more excited and said, "Don't say thank you. His wife will pay for it in the future. We are not allowed to talk to him. If you want to see this girl once, give me 5 taels of silver. And if you want to marry her, give me 100 taels of silver." "What are you going to do with 2 strings of money now?" Jingji saw that the pious woman was stubborn and refused to accept the money. So he pulled out a pair of gold-headed and silver-footed hairpins, weighing 5 coins, and killed the chicken. Kneeling on the ground, she said, "Grandma Wang, please take it now. I'll give you another tael of silver later. Don't dare to send it away. Let me see him and say something to him." That woman said, so he collected the hairpin and money and distributed the money. "You go in to see him, and come out with me after we have spoken. You are not allowed to just sit there with your eyes open. The 1 or 2 pieces of silver you promised will be sent to me tomorrow." So he lifted the curtain and let Jingji into the inner room. The woman was sitting on the kang. When she saw Jingji, she complained to him and said, "You are such a good man. You have made me lose my way to the village and the shop behind me. I have an upper body but not a lower body. I am making myself look ugly and annoying. You are just a shadow. You don't want to come to see me anymore. My ladies are fine. Who are you here to tear apart?" he said, holding on to Jingji and just crying. Wang Po cried again, fearing that someone might hear her. Jingji said, "My sister, I cut off your skin and flesh for you. And you are angry and embarrassed because of me. Why don't you come to see you? I went to Zhu's house yesterday and found out that the spring plums were sold in the garrison mansion. So I asked about it. I know that you have left his house and are engaged to be married to Grandma Wang. I came to see you today to discuss it with you. We are deeply in love and cannot be separated. What should I do now?" I asked him if he wanted to keep the gold and silver boxes at my house. If he didn't come with me, I would go down to the Manchu Gate in Tokyo, and it would be too late for him to hand them over to me. I would marry him in a sedan chair under a false name. Why don't we go to your house and be reunited forever? The woman said, "Now Wang Qianyang wants 100 taels of silver. Do you have this money with him?" Jingji said, "Why do you have so many people?" The mother-in-law said, "Your eldest mother-in-law said that your father had more than enough silver to pay for him at the beginning. It must be 100 taels of silver. It won't be enough for him." Jingji said, "It's true. To tell you the truth, my 6th sister and I are having a heated fight and cannot be separated. Seeing that you are considerate, I will withdraw half of my son, whichever is 5 or 60 taels of silver, and I will borrow 2 or 3 houses from my uncle. It's a spring breeze to marry the 6th sister. You should stay away." The mother-in-law said, "Don't talk about 50 or 60 taels. It's not your turn to sell silk and silk in Huzhou yesterday." He Guanren came out to 70 taels. The second official of Zhang in the main street now saw that he was in charge of punishment in Tixingyuan. So he sent 2 sections to come out to 80 taels, and came with 2 hexagrams of silver to redeem it. "No. They're all going back. You're a kid. You talk empty talk, but you still dare to ridicule me. I'm so unreasonable. Then he walked out on the street and yelled, "Whose son-in-law is going to marry me? Mother-in-law? You are farting in my mother-in-law's house." Jingji panicked and pulled his mother-in-law in with one hand. He knelt down and said, "Grandma Wang, be silent. I think Grandma Wang is worth 100 taels of silver. I'm in Tokyo tomorrow. I'll get up and go to Tokyo to get the money." The woman said, "Since you've done this for me, don't argue with your godmother. Go ahead and get it. I'm afraid you'll be late and someone else will marry a slave, and it won't be you." Jingji said, "I hired the boss to travel all night, and it took him half a month or 10 days to arrive." The mother-in-law said, "As the saying goes, the rice is eaten first, and my 10 taels of silver are out. Don't worry about it. I'll explain it to you first." Jingji said, "There's no need to say this. I'm grateful for my kindness, so I won't forget it." After saying that, Jingji left and went home to pack his luggage, hire the boss, and go to Tokyo to get the money. Here and there, exactly. When the blue dragon and the white tiger walk together, good or bad things are not guaranteed at all.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.